The good that men do is oft interred with their bones, but the evil that men do lives on. Iron Maiden and a couple of other artists like Billy Joel said, only the good die young, but the evil seems to live forever. Could be a harsh thing to say, but it is the underlying reality of our world that we live in, especially the corporate, the political, and the business world. Do you think meritocracy is enough to succeed in life? Maybe in a perfect world, but that's not the world we live in, right? There are many other slimy, dodgy, and kind of iffy things that you would actually need to do to succeed immensely. Just having good meritocracy is not enough to succeed. After all, you have to remember that your success depends on someone else's success or corporate success that I'm talking about is mostly a team game. And you have to scratch someone else's back in order for your back to be scratched. Okay, and you have to do the scratching first if you start low. So that saying, only the good die young and the evil seems to live forever, could be an extreme, but if you apply it to your corporate life, you will notice that this is something that's happening around you every single day. You might have noticed many people with good merit being passed on, or smart people staying down, and the so not smart or um, the people who you clearly know that have some alternate motives or have some slimy habits, they are the one who are promoted so that the upper management can work with them better. It's hard. It's easier to train a stupid than to train a smart person, especially when that training involves something to do with uh, personal gains. So it is a harsh truth to grasp, but at some point you have to accept the fact that yes, we are living in this world where your competitors will do everything to get ahead of you, and that everything involves things that are beyond the boundaries of morals and ethics. Maybe not corporate morals and ethics, but personal morals and ethics, such as back scratching, ass not grabbing, licking, and boss buttering, and so on and so forth. So, that is a skill to be achieved. If you are not that person who would like to do those things that I just said, but you still want to succeed at work, how do you do it? Because if you don't do it, someone else will and they will succeed and they will take your spot. And the worst thing for a good person to do is nothing. So the bad person kind of takes over and then takes charge. So why not for a bit adjust, manage, go with the flow until you get some power, some considerable space at your work so you can make your own decisions and you can change the culture a bit. But don't try to go in that's a work culture, that's how people work, that's how people have been working for a while, that's embedded in the culture. So don't try to change the work culture from day one that you go in. Assess it, learn from it, and then change yourself. And that changing involves honing some skills, some skills that are not taught in any colleges, any schools. Your parents won't tell you that because they are a bit beyond personal morals and ethics. And that skill is to becoming an actor. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 steps how you can become a better actor at work. And some people might see this in a negative way, but that's just the truth of today's world. That's just the fact of life. And our whole world actually is designed around acting. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example with along with the step 1 of this process, which is understanding the why. Again, back to Shakespeare. If you know this line of him, which says, "All the world's a stage, and all men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages, at first infant, mewing, puking in nurse's arms." This is what Shakespeare said. Knowingly or unknowingly, we are all characters while operating in this world. We are all playing some of the other characters while operating in this world. You're expected to act like a brother, as a parent, as a grandparent, as a nurse. Same goes to professional relationships, right? Like if you read a job description, it clearly says that we are looking for someone to play a role of a sales manager, play a role of a finance manager, play a role of a sales executive, right? So they don't want you to be you. They want you to fit in that role that their play currently has going, right? Imagine yourself as a new actor applying to go for a play that's going at your school, at your university, at your church, and you cannot expect everything to be changed as per your liking, right? You have to match their requirements of fulfilling that character of the play that they're playing, which is The Office. If you've seen the show Office, it's a play, and we play that play every day. And if the requirement is for a Dwight and you send a Kevin, it's not going to work, right? You have to understand that. So even if you are a Kevin, you have to act as a Dwight. And how to act as a Dwight is by learning acting, learning to act. And how can you learn to act? That's what I'm going to show you. So, but first, understanding the why is the step 1. Why do you need to learn acting? If you have that at the back of your mind all the time, while you're at work, while you're at a client meeting, you will know to shut yourself off. You will know to shut your own self off, your personal emotions off, your personal thoughts off, your personal agendas off, your social media thoughts off, whatever. And you will get into that zone of a sales manager that is required of you. Understand this fact. Like everything is a play, life is a play, and you are always playing a role of somebody. So if you try to be yourself all the time, you're just going to end up offending people. Okay, left, right, and center. You lose friends, you lose relationships, you'll probably lose your job. So yeah, be an authentic self, but at home. Be it in person, be it with your wife, be it with your best friend, be it with your girlfriend who understands you. But don't try to be your authentic self everywhere. You're required to be an actor, and that's what you have to do, unfortunately. And might as well get good at it, right? Might as well get good at it. So step 1 is understanding this why. Step 2 is getting on platforms such as Omegle, Skype if you're still using it, or Google Teams, or whatever, the one-on-one call-in platforms where you can talk to probably even strangers, your friends, colleagues, one-on-one calls. That's just going to make you um, try to please them, try to do a project with them, try to get a deal out of them if you're talking to like a company or someone, and try to fit in that role that they want you to be in. That's how great people in the world get things done. Businessmen, um, stockbrokers, um, middlemen, they cannot be their authentic, they cannot afford to be their authentic self. They lose everything they have. So they have to play a role of a dealer, of a middleman, of a government agent, and leave their authentic self at home. Maybe they're just not realizing this, okay? Because not everyone is in the space of realizing everything about what's going on. But if you are in that space where you've realized that being your authentic self is not helping you, this video is for you. And try to act, okay? Don't be your authentic self everywhere. Try to act. You cannot change people's mind in 2 seconds. So try going on sites like Omegle and try talking to strangers. Try holding up a conversation for 20 minutes with the most difficult people that you meet. Go just talk to people at grocery markets, or try to see the hardest person that you see on the street, and go and try to talk with them and see what's up with them and what's going on with their life, and see where that takes you. And that will train your body, your senses, to be in a certain character whenever needed. You can just be walking down the street being your real self and having your real thoughts, and then you suddenly see a client walking down, and then you can just, in a flick of a switch, go in this character of a sales representative with a killer pitch right behind your small talk. So just go in that character, talk to the guy, see what he's looking for, and go on from there. Okay, so get better at acting by talking to strangers online, on the street, at work, just randomly wherever possible at gatherings. And that's going to be step 2. Step 3, try to sell something. Okay, um, this might be a hard thing for people, but now, given so many online platforms, selling has become very easy. And maybe you'll not be profitable from it, you might not make any money from it, but do it as a lesson. Okay, do it as a teaching for yourself. This is also something no university will teach you. There's no course for this. You just have to put your foot in the door and get through that anxiety and push forward. Go sell something. Okay, design a course. If you're good at cooking, bake something. I don't know, depending on your age, how much you could travel, but do that if you could. And whatever you're good at, design something and try to sell it. That will actually teach you a lot more about people's psyche and what people say and what they would really do when it comes to buying something. Okay, like, it really shows you how layered personalities are, and how someone would appear something else on the face, but when you really get to business, and when it comes time to paying something out of the pocket and getting a good review for it, that's where you really meet the person behind all those layers and personalities. Okay, so try to sell something. Okay, that's a really great way of getting yourself into a personality, and like getting better at acting, getting better at pitching. What is acting? Like, acting is nothing but getting control over your tones, your accents, your pitches, knowing when to say, what to say exactly, what not exactly to say, reading facial expressions, um, reading body language, designing a walk for a character, designing a body language for a character. That's basically acting. Acting is nothing but observing. Okay, if you want to break it down to one word, acting is observing and then copying. That's basically what acting is. So get good at observing people's personalities, observing the layers on their personalities. And that will actually teach you what you are, like how to break through your own layers of personalities and get through the real self of you. And then you also, once you understand your real self, it will be very easy for you to act in a certain way. Okay, most actors that are really established and they can play so many different characters, they first know themselves really well. I don't know if you can see this plaque over here, but it says Know Thyself by Socrates. But know yourself, and the best way to knowing yourself is seeing through other people's selves, seeing through their layered personalities and then comparing themselves with you to break down your own layers of ego and personalities. Mind you, you might not realize it, but you do have a lot of layers of egos and personalities within you if you've not yet noticed it. And if you really have to get to your own self, you have to break through all these layers and personalities to get through to your real self. So do that. Observe people, get into difficult situations, get into difficult conversations, but in a good way. And try to observe people's personalities and try to sell them something. Selling them is a really great way to see people's personalities and then compare it with them, those personalities and that experience with your own self. That will make you a great actor in a good way, in a corporate setting. Okay, and this just doesn't go for sales. Even if you are in human relations, if you are in finance, if you are in supply chain, man, if you are a good actor, you're just gonna climb those steps that you need to be so much faster. You will know which character to play in which situations, and probably you're needed to play 10 different characters every day, going from a mom to going to a HR rep, from going to a driver when you're coming home, then going to a cook if you're cooking at home, um, then switching to a teacher if you're taking homework from your kids. So there are many characters that you need to play throughout the day, and you cannot just be a mom and then play that mom characters in all five of your roles that you're supposed to play. Okay, switch off your characters when your role is done and get into a next character. That will just give you so much peace of mind. It'll give you so much variety in life. It will just give you a new flavor, and people around you will also notice that, and that will put you on an express pathway to get your new promotion, to start that new business, get that new client. That's what's going to help you. Okay, so step number 3 was try to sell something. Step number 4, once you're done with um, going through so much of trial and error and conversations with people, you are eventually going to get through to your real self. And once you get to your real self, you're really going to start developing your own style. Okay, yes, you need to play a character, but you also need to play a character with your own style. uh, if James Bond, let's say if Daniel Craig was to play James Bond like Pierce Brosnan did, exactly the same way of pitch, same way he had a swag, same way of clothes, and everything the same way, we would not enjoy it, right? Even though we know that James Bond is that same character, but since we are seeing a new person, we expect them to have their own spice to it, their own touch on it, right? If they just copy someone else, we're not going to like it. That goes with everyday life as well. Even if you are expected to play a character of a sales manager, let's say, and you have to tick all those boxes required that are mentioned in the job description, you still need to bring that little tiny bit of your personal flavor to every character so that people remember you, so that people listen to you. If you're just repeating lines off of someone else's dialogues, people are not going to appreciate that. Maybe they will laugh if it's a funny thing, but it won't take you anywhere. So have that personal touch. Identify your own style. Okay, that's step number 4. Identifying what really works for you. See if you're a person who can just insert a song in a conversation, if that works for you. And that how would you know that? Is through trial and error. Selling something is the best way to do it, because no one's going to mind you approaching them maybe 30 times a day. I mean, not the same person, but 30 different people, 40 different people, if you're selling them something. If you just walk up to people to talk to 40 different people, some might think that you are a bit weird, so they'll try to avoid you. So selling something is a great way to go do that. But identify your style. Identify what kind of pitches work for you. Does a deep voice work for you, or does a high voice work for you? What does work for you? Okay, do you need to put on some different makeup when you get into a certain character? Do you need to avoid a certain thing like perfumes, or like denims, or high top hair if for girls? Like, I don't know, but yeah, identify that. Which hairstyle fits which character? What thing will go with what else? And try to also create your own identity with it. Okay, that's what's going to bring the real you to the people, and people are going to remember you. That they're going to say, oh yeah, that was a great sales manager that I met from this company. He had his pitch perfect, he looked great, he smelled great, he was in his perfect mind, he said the perfect things, and he also had a great personality. So become that person who is a great actor but also has its own flavor, like all great actors we know in life, right? Any best of your actors you remember, they might have played several different roles, but they have their style. Even if you hear 2 words from them, without seeing the visual, you'll know who that actor is. It's because they have their own style, they have their own pitch, quality of voice, everything. So step number 4 is identify your own style. Step number 5 is to record and review yourself. Nowadays, it's so easy to record yourself, okay? If you've seen the Insta Go 60, or what is it, the Insta360 Go 3S, it's a camera the size of my thumb, and you could put it so discreetly somewhere, and when you're doing a sales pitch, just record it. Okay, just go on AliExpress or Amazon and buy some glasses that have some secret recording feature on them. If you don't want people to freak out when you're recording, or if you don't want to hold a camera and stuff, just wear those and record yourself while you're doing your sales pitch, while you're talking to a call center, for example. Let's say if that's what your segue is, and see what you could improve. Okay, look at yourself and think, if you were in the customer's shoes, and if you approached me, would you buy that thing if you heard that pitch from a salesperson? A really good way to put yourself in someone else's shoes is by recording yourself and watching it again. So do that, record yourself. If you cannot record it with a video, do it with an audio. If you cannot do it with both, do it with a book and a pen. Just make some notes of the things that you remember of this conversation right after the conversation is done, and then review those notes later. Okay, it's very important. And for an actor, it's really important to record and then watch themselves to make themselves better, because you cannot see yourself when you're doing something, and you hear yourself, but you are also thinking at the same time. Your hand gestures are going on. You have to manage your body language. You're paying attention to your surroundings. You're reading the customer. So even when you're talking, you are not really listening to yourself. Okay, your thoughts are just on autoflow and or autopilot, and they're just running themselves. Okay, so for a good autopilot, you need a good uh, backup data or a good training for that autopilot to work really good while it's the time to work. So review yourself, act in front of a mirror, maybe take up a professional class as well if you can. Join a local theater group, or take some lessons from a local actor that you might know, and maybe do a couple of skits with them to see if they might have some pointers for you, and go from there. Read a couple of books on beginners acting. Read a couple of screenplay, but that could be a really good insight as well, as reading screenplays is how movie makers use visuals and images and body languages to grab your attention, to convey a message to you when they're making a movie. Oftentimes, what you take from a movie, out of that, only 20% is conversational communication. Rest 80-90% is visual, emotional, and in many other ways like musical, so on and so forth. Maybe 10-20% is conversational. So bring that effect into your life as well. Okay, show you don't the less you speak, the more valuable your words become. So if you're a chatterbox, people are not going to listen to you or pay attention to you all the time. But if you speak few words, but they're really carefully crafted, and you've thought about what you have to say, people really pay attention to that. So use your body language. And I'm not saying keep quiet. That's not the case. That's not the message. But use your body language to convey things, convey messages, convey um, orders, convey emotions whenever and if you can, and use words sparingly and carefully, and like an actor, like an actor in a show. They are not talking gibberish. What they're saying is carefully written before they actually come up on the stage and say it. They've practiced it a couple of times, and that's how you get that amazing delivery and effect of those words. If you say those same words without practice, they're not gonna sound like even 10% as effective as that actor. The only reason being the pitch and the emotions and the practice behind saying those words. Why not do that in real life as well? That's going to make you so much more successful and so much more um, exceptional than everyone around you. Most great people do that. Businessmen, great businessmen do that. Great leaders do that. Great thinkers do that. Philosophers do that. Choose your words carefully and see how your life changes, and um, how much it affects positively on the outcomes of the work that you put in. So step number 5 was record and review yourself. Come home and think of conversations that you've had at work and see how you can make them better. Okay, do everything. Take notes, watch recordings, listen to the audios, but get some acting in your life. Okay, that's what you're expected to do. That's what society expects us to do. That's, believe me or not, but I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing too, but that's how things are. And instead of trying to change 8 billion people, why don't you just play with the drama that's going on? And then in your spare life, on, in front of a camera like this, on YouTube or on your in your family group or in your close friends, develop a community of like-minded people, and there you can be your authentic self. But don't try to be your authentic self every minute of the day. It will cost you, especially in today's world where everything is so shallow and people are getting offended at nothing, and people are losing jobs over the smallest word that they might have used, such as calling someone with a different pronoun, or not using their correct last name, or like mistaking someone's race or religion might get you in deep trouble. So choose your words carefully. Leave your authentic self at home, or at least at the door of your office, and then step in as the role that you agreed to play for. Okay? Don't be a Sam where you're required to be a sales manager. Leave the Sam at home. Leave him for the playground. Leave him for the kids, for your wife. But become Frank, the sales manager, at work. So those were the 5 steps. If you have any comments, questions, post them below and I'll be happy to respond. See you next time. Bye.